Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Jeff Culbert from Schooley's Mountain Chiropractic Center. Obviously, today is a Saturday. It's a little bit of a kickback day, so no purple shirt on. You do know now that I am a Notre Dame fan, and we just finished shooting a video on how to start your day with the Hour of Power. So I'd also like to spend a couple of moments talking about what is the absolute best way for you to end your day. Because if you've started your day with intense energy, the right positive attitude and mind frame, and you've worked on your body through exercise, or you're developing yourself in a spiritual way, a physical way, emotional, and a mental way, you obviously are building up a foundation for you to carry on throughout your day as impactfully as you possibly can. And then comes the process of where you need to think about, how am I winding down my day so that I can start the process all over again? And it's not that I want you to think that you're on a treadmill and you're on a grind every day in and day out, day in and day out, but it gives you the ability to focus your mind on some things that are critically important for you to grow as an individual. Years ago, I was watching a video or listening to a tape that Tony Robbins had done. And in the day, this was back in the mid to maybe late 80s, when Tony Robbins made a comment. And the comment was, most people are focused on making a living versus designing a life. Okay, so yes, we all have activities that we need to do. We need to get up. We need to have breakfast. We've got to make sure the kids are on the bus. We've got to make sure our spouse is content and happy with what they're doing, and they get off either to what they're doing in the house during the day, or they're getting off to work, and then you're off to the work and to the races. And it can be a very grind where you're focused on activity after activity after activity after activity after activity. You get to the end of the day and you're dead, and you're just dying, and it's just, eat some dinner, watch some TV, and then pop off and go to bed and start the day all over again. So not only do we have our hour of power that we talk about for getting yourself set and ready for the day, it's also important that you end your day not necessarily with an hour of power, but at least with a good half hour, maybe 40 minutes of winding down to let your body relax. Because we've got in our system, a sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight, fright, or flight, and we have to trigger our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our ability to relax, to wind down, to let everything come back down to normal. And so when we're running on this treadmill called life, we're trying to balance fight and attack, relax and balance. And to the degree that we can keep the two fairly balanced, we have a great life. But in our crazy 21st century world, we are constantly meeting challenge after challenge after challenge after challenge. So we're always on the run. We're always fighting, flighting, okay? And we have more up in the stress time and very little time to think about focusing on relaxation. So we want to try to bring up that parasympathetic and bring down that sympathetic so that we get back again to the balance. We all have a proverbial stress threshold, okay? And at a certain point, we're going to meet and then start to exceed our stress threshold. And it's when we start to meet and exceed our stress threshold that you're going to start to notice certain things are going to be happening to you. The first thing that stress will trigger will start to be some intense fatigability. Your energy has just got up and gone, okay? And you know that this is a difference between being just tired, okay, and being overstressed. Because if I'm tired at the end of the day, and I'm sitting there ready to unwind, and I talked to my wife, okay, and I said, honey, I'm done. I'm toast. I got nothing left in me. And she comes up and says, well, how would you like to go see your grandchildren down the road? And I perk up and say, yes, I'm ready to go see my grandchildren right now. Well, I'm not done. I'm not toast. I'm tired. Okay, and there's something out there that's going to motivate me to go and do and engage. And my grandchildren will do anything for. When you get to the situation where you're done. I'm toast. I have nothing left, honey. And she goes, well, how would you like to go see your grandchildren? And I said, I can't do it. I am toast. I literally can't get up out of this chair. Then I know I have exceeded my stress threshold, and the amount of fatigue that I have now is insurmountable. Something that's pleasurable to me is not going to motivate me to get up and overcome my fatigue. I am burnt and I'm toast. So you're going to notice that level of fatigue. The other thing you notice when you're in that level of fatigue, your diet is going to start to change. And your diet is going to change not necessarily for the benefit of good food. You're not going to be reaching for the carrots and the broccoli and the apples and the oranges, the fruits and the vegetables that carry the vitamins and the minerals that are going to build your body up from the inside out with the building blocks that you need. What you're going to start to notice is when you're at that level of fatigue, you're going to be reaching for the sweets, okay? Because it's the sugar that's going to give you the boost of energy that will temporarily get you going before you have the next crash again. The other thing is you're going to start to notice is that inevitably, because of the fatigue and the lack of activity, the shift and change in your diet to more of the refined sugars, you're going to start to be putting on weight. And the kicker is the weight's not going to want to come off, because when you're in that total stress mode, you burn through, okay, your sugars for energy. That's why you're craving the sugars. But you start to store your fats for reserves, okay? And because you're starving, okay, for a balance in life, and you need to store these fat reserves for later on, you're gaining weight and you can't get rid of it. And then when you're stress overloaded, you're fatigued, your diet has changed, you're eating more refined sugars, you're gaining weight and it just doesn't want to come off. Then you're going to start to notice your body is going to start breaking down from one weak link to the next weak link to the next weak link to the next weak link, and you think you're literally falling apart. So whether the weak link comes down to lower back pain, neck pain, headaches, menstrual cramps, digestive bloating, heartburn and indigestion, it's going to be weak link, weak link, weak link, weak link. You get the idea of what's happening. So to try to avoid all of this and focus on what do I need to do, especially towards the end of the day, to start to unwind. I come home at the end of a long day, and the first thing that I do is I hug and embrace my wife. Okay, because she is the anchor that I have. She's the one that I've committed to spend the rest of my life with. And I'm grateful for the fact that I go out to work each day and serve my patients. But I'm thankful that I'm coming home to a loving and a caring wife that has been with me now for 40 years in marriage. So God bless her, she's the saint. We've known each other for 43 years. And we still have a great relationship that moves forward. So I'm grateful. Come in, give her a hug, give her a kiss. And then we sit down and we have some dinner together. And we break bread. And I always have a little ritual and a routine now since getting involved with Pastor John and Mendham Hills Community Church, that every night I try to have a little bit of red wine with a little bit of bread. I dip my bread into my wine, and I just remember what Christ died for me for. His body broken and his blood shed for me. So it's my way of just committing myself to a higher and more spiritual purpose. I consume my food. I'm grateful for the food that I'm eating. I always try to remember to give a silent prayer of thanks for what I'm doing in terms of consuming my food. Because in this moment that I'm grateful for the food that I'm consuming and I give it a little blessing, the molecular structure changes within the food. And then that food is going to be used to build my body up from the inside out in strong and noble healing blocks. And if you doubt that, I would suggest you go into a video, What the Bleep Do We Know? You can probably get some of that on YouTube. And there is a book, What the Bleep Do We Know? And the gentleman there is an Oriental scientist who literally shows you slides of water when people are angry versus when people are happy, thankful, and grateful. The molecular structure of the water just changes from random chaos to absolutely beautiful structure. So it was something a long time ago that I learned that you should always give a blessing. Once I've had my meal, I will take a few minutes of break to sit down and relax in front of the TV. Once I'm done relaxing in front of the TV, catch up with some of the events that are going on in the news. Now, I am not a 24-hour news junkie, but I do feel that it is incumbent upon an intelligent human being to know what are the things that are going on in the world that you need to know how to adapt and accommodate to. I'm smart enough to know that the things that are going on in Washington, the things that are going on in Israel, the things that are going on in China, everywhere around the world, I have no control over. I don't stress out over those things. What I do try to focus my attention on is what is my ability to take control of my thoughts and my emotions to what is going on in the world and control those. Because I do know that if I can control what is going on within my thinking and in my body, it has an influence on the people that are around me. And if I can have a sound, calm, like literally I'm the eye of the storm, people will flock to me to have that sense of calm, that sense of peace that they are lacking in their life. So when the hurricane is out going around, you know that there's the center of the storm. That's where I want to be. And wherever direction that storm is, I'm focusing my mind, my body, and my spirit, always being the calm, so that wherever I'm going and that storm is leading, I stay calm and centered. I influence my family to stay calm and centered. They influence their friends and their family to stay calm and centered. And the ability to have a calm and centered community spreads from me to them to the community. The community can then calm and center and balance the state. The state can then go influence the region can influence the country can then influence the hemisphere can then go out and influence the world. But it has to start with me first. And that starts with me knowing a little bit about what's going on at the end of the day. From there, I love my sunroom. And I go into my sunroom and I sit down with my Bible and I read some scripture at the end of the day. When I'm done with my scripture at the end of the day, I say a prayer to God. And this is where I start to ask for my prayers and intention for my family, for myself, for my patients, for my friends, for what did I just see that's going on in the world? Do I need to say a prayer and ask for a blessing for? Okay, the other day, we all watched Joe Biden blow up on TV. And the only thing I could think of, one, this is an older man who has got some mental capabilities that are challenged. He happens to be the president of the United States, who is the leader of the free world. Okay, and the outpouring tone of the nation is he needs to be yanked and pulled. I hear nobody saying we need to have thoughts and prayers for Joe Biden. That whoever is taking care of him, his wife, his doctors, help him to make the right decision going forward. That he has the care and the attention that he needs as an older gentleman who is obviously cognitively impaired, but do we get angry, mad, and do we take the conservative right view, he needs to be pulled by the 25th Amendment right now? Or do we send him loving, caring thoughts? That we pray for him, that his mind is set at ease, that the people who are taking care of him guide him in the right direction and don't use him as a political puppet. So those are the prayers that I'm setting out for him. Now, I'm a conservative, libertarian, Republican, Tea Partyan. So my views are as totally far apart from the liberal left Democrats as possibly can be. But as a Christian, I know I have to pray for this gentleman so that ultimately he's taken care of. And at the same time, I'm praying for the country that the right people will show up at the right time to guide us into the right direction. I'm not being militant. I'm not being belligerent. I'm not being attacking, but I'm trying to be as caring and thoughtful as I possibly can. So this is one example of just saying a prayer for somebody that literally on the political stage of the spectrum, you look at and say, we're opposing enemies. But I learned a long time ago in a game called the Samurai Game, in the Battle of the Champions, if you battle your opponent honorably, both people win. And as a result, the country will win. But when you're battling people, okay, as enemies, that I have to trump and beat you, and I've got to literally bury you into the ground, well, then nobody wins, because there's always this argumentative thing. But when you battle honorably, you end up having respect for your opponent. And once there's that level of respect for your opponent, you build rapport. And when there's that level of rapport, then you can come to common ground, and then you can build something from there. So I'm not looking at anything other than I am saying prayers for people that I think need prayers. And that's part of how I end my day, so I can end my day peacefully. And then when I'm done with my prayers, I always break down into an affirmation. And the affirmations, again, are the things that I want to be attracted into my life. And not only do I do the affirmations for what I want to attract, but I also spend a moment in a meditation that Wayne Dyer taught me years ago. At the beginning of the day, you can start your meditation with what is known as an ah meditation. And the sound of ah is the universal sound. It is the God sound, according to Wayne Dyer. And when you're doing your ah meditation, that is the thing that is attracting things into your life. At the end of the day, I love to spend 15 or 20 minutes in the Om meditation. Now, the sound of Om is the sound of gratitude. Okay, it is the sound of peace. So if you literally think about the 27 or 28, 29 different names for God, they all have the ah sound. There is Allah. There is Buddha. Okay, there is Krishna. Okay, there is God. Okay, they all have the ah sound. And then in the Jewish faith, they have this wonderful word for peace, hello, greetings. That is the word shalom. And in the Om meditation, okay, you are greeting God, you are greeting in peace, you are greeting and being thankful for those things that came in. So this is the way best I can describe it. Wayne Dyer, you start your day with ah, I'm attracting. You end your day with Om, I'm thanking. And is the yin and the yang of yes, I'm getting and receiving, and I'm thankful for the receiving. And then you try to figure out, how can I then bless the world with the fact that I am here the next day? So I go to bed after I've finished my meditation, I'm at peace. I go upstairs, I brush my teeth, wash my face, give my wife a hug and a kiss as we go to bed at night, and I am resting the rest of the night. The other thing that I've got to be mentioning is that if you're noticing that you are getting up at a particular time of night, and the particular time of night is generally around 3 o'clock in the morning, that is not necessarily an inconvenience to your night and your sleep. What I have learned on a spiritual basis, that 3 o'clock in the morning is the time of day that God likes to talk to you. And it is amazing the messaging that you can get when you're open to the fact of, good morning, God, it's 3 o'clock, I'm awake, I'm here, what would you like to let me know? What do you need to communicate with me? And then I may be laying around in bed for 15 or 20 minutes waiting for some revelation, or I may roll over and fall asleep and get a thought flash like that. A simple message. You know, not too long ago, I got the message that you don't sacrifice enough. So what did I do? I signed up for a mission trip. And I went and gave of myself more, my time, my energy, and sacrificed money, okay, so that I could give more for those that are in need, have way less than I have. But it was a thought flash that came at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was a decision I don't regret to this day. I absolutely enjoyed it. Okay. Other times you get different thought flashes on people, places, or things that need your care and attention. And it's just a way of God directing you and guiding you. So by being cognitive of, I create my hour of power, I'm putting out to the universe, I'm building myself up in strong and noble thought. And at the end of the day, it's all about thanks and gratitude, prayers, thought, love, relaxation. I'm ready for the fight of the day in the morning. I'm ready to hang up my sword and shield and give thanks and gratitude and allow myself to sleep with quality and quantity releasing biochemically growth hormone that allows my body to heal and repair so that I'm ready for the next day's work and challenges. So this is how, again, in the previous video, we started our day. This is how I like to think about ending my day, and what are the things that will be accomplished because I start my day off in strong and noble thought, and I'm reprocessing, rebuilding my mind and body at the end of the day. So this is Dr. Jeff Culbert, going to sign off today on this message. If you saw anything or heard anything in this video that you liked and motivated you, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, and get the word out that chiropractic is way more than just moving bones.